I got no script for this video, no notes, just off the top of my head. I just watched another video. This one was from Jason Morris about the S1RII and its rolling shutter. And I saw some videos a few days ago from Terry Warfield and live streams about rolling shutter and S1RII and reactions to this and that. And my name keeps getting mentioned because I guess I'm the mascot for the rolling shutter performance on that camera or whatever. But obviously other people like, Jason Morris, whoever talked about it as well. I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed by really so many things to do with camera reviews. Honestly, like I'm so sick of a lot of things to do with the camera review space and cycle. I hate the drama associated with it for the most part. I hate most of... I should preface this by saying that when it comes to my own videos that I post on my channel, generally high 97s to low 98% like ratio. 2% of people don't like them, and of that 2%, some people comment. That's a small enough number that you just deal with it and move on. But then there's so many like Reddit posts and user groups and response videos and just so much noise all over what? In this case, the rolling shutter performance of the S1RII. I've been making some tongue-in-cheek videos recently, a few months ago anyway, of like that, that one we did that joke press conference thing of what are we talking about? We're talking about cameras. I was trying to basically not have to make this video, which is like, geez, shut up. What are you talking about? And let me explain. I made a post on social about this. I think one of the things that I have the most trouble with, or that annoys me the most, is when people assign emotions, feelings, thoughts, attributes to you that don't actually apply to you, but they've decided that's what that person is, and that's how I'm going to pretend all their information is coming toward me. I think that annoys me the most. So why don't we clear the air about a couple things? One, you want to know the things I actually care about in a camera that I care about? Since so many people seem to get it wrong or just use me as a vessel to infer something. And I have an interesting note about, I think, the psychological condition as to, I think, why that happens. I think it's merely that people are just looking for reasons not to buy something. And I get it because I do it too. Say, for instance, I have limited budget that I want to spend on a game console, because I don't do a lot of gaming on game consoles. I'm more of a PC gamer. So maybe there's the PlayStation 5. I have a PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5 Pro comes out. And I think to myself, I don't want to buy a PlayStation 5 Pro. So I watch a review and somebody says, PlayStation 5 Pro, it's too noisy. I just made that up. And then I go, good, I'm glad it's too noisy because in my back of my head, I didn't want to buy it anyway. I didn't want to be convinced to buy it. I wanted to instead have a reason not to. So I watch a video, person says it's too noisy. I think to myself, noise is pretty important to me. I'm not going to buy it. I think that's 99% of what's happening. They're using my video as a video that finds the flaws and tells you about them. Then they're echoing what I say because it gives them a reason not to buy the thing that, and I think the creators say, you weren't going to buy it anyway. Well, probably, or maybe they didn't want to and they were looking for an excuse not to buy it or an excuse to escape the endless advertising that's likely being bombarded. We all get it. Creators aren't immune to it. I get endlessly advertised to as well. And I realize that I contribute, in a sense, to the endless advertising that you, on the other end of this video, are also seeing. So if you're looking for a reason not to buy the S1RII, it's got terrible rolling shutter. Don't even think about it. Throw it in the garbage. Do I actually feel that way? No. But if that helps you not buy it, cool. Do I care if that hurts LUMIX? No. LUMIX is not a person. It's a camera brand. One of many camera brands, all that I don't care about because they're not people. I care about the marketing people that, you build relationships with them. You start talking to them, you joke. When you're on calls about camera gear or when you're on calls about the briefing for the thing, you start joking about some things, and maybe you learn a little bit about their family, you start to care about those people. But those people aren't Sony, Lumix, Fuji, whatever. They're not. That's just a camera brand. And I don't care if any of these camera brands survive or crumble. And why do you? Why should you care either? Don't go in the comments and defend a brand. Get a life. It's not a person. It's not your partner, your brother, your sister, your mom. It's a camera company who also... Almost all these camera companies, by the way, are part of a bigger conglomerate that makes 20 different things, some of which that dwarf the camera division. So really, stop it. Now I realize I'm scattershotting 100 different topics. This is what it's like to talk to me, by the way, in real life when I'm a little bit passionate about something. People think I talk too fast in my videos, that I'm too this and that, he's too much, he was too excited about, he was too upset about rolling shutter. You don't have any idea what I'm like in real life, okay? I tone it way down for my YouTube videos. This is what I'm like in real life when I'm like, well, you want to hear something that's going on? Anyway, I don't give a crap about rolling shutter. The cameras that I use on a regular basis to make videos like this, they're all on tripods. A lot of the stuff I talk about doesn't matter to me. Dynamic range. This is controlled lighting. I can dim and brighten whatever I want. There's no windows in this shot. They can probably get away with 6 stops in here. Dynamic range doesn't matter to me. Rolling shutter doesn't matter to me. Battery life, used to, but I got everything on double redundant mains power now. It doesn't matter to me. I suppose overheating would matter, but I run this in a climate-controlled basement in Canada. So it basically just has to not overheat in my basement, which the S1R2 did. So I mentioned that video. Everybody's obsessed about rolling shutter. It overheats and the battery sucks. Focus on that. That's more important to me if you want to know what I care about. Yes, you can work around those things. And I also took time to show how you could work around those things, so I could probably make the S1R2 work in this studio quite viably. And in fact, there's some reasons to even do that. 32-bit float module on top of the camera stops me from having to use a 32-bit float recorder as a separate device. The USB external recording USB-C, maybe I can ditch all these ninjas, you know? Because it also does like LUTs over HDMI and stuff. I could probably get rid of a bunch of my crap, or if I had to if I was able to somehow return all this equipment for the exact same amount of money back, I could then rebuy with Panasonic and have then extra cash in my pocket. And I think that'd be a good thing to do. And there's almost nothing about the S1R2 that I couldn't work around or make work in my YouTube studio. But my camera reviews used to be shorter. They used to be a lot shorter. And you know what happens? People go, that's all great. Great video, man. But hey, can you please test this? Can you please test that? You see 10 people ask for a test, you throw it in the next video. People say, great, great. Oh, you know what else I'd also love to know about? And they tell you something else. So yeah, add that to the next video. Next thing you know, you've got my A7S3 video that's 30 minutes long, and I made 2 of them because of I've eventually eliminated some things that nobody seemed to care about. But a lot of these tests are things that you asked for, you as the viewer. And again, 98% of you are appreciative about it. But there's 2% that just my God, you people, you brand defenders, your user groups, your Reddits, all this stuff. And it's always the same nonsense comments. Gerald doesn't even really shoot anything. Do I need to shoot any? Do you want? Okay, first of all, you don't know me. You don't know what I do, okay? If I took the camera, if right now I took a camera and I found some location and I showed you the most beautiful shot you've ever, you weep. You weep when you see it. You just go, oh my, I didn't know art could be that arty. Does it change how long the battery lasts? No. So if I want to communicate to you efficiently how long the battery lasts, does it make sense for me to do it through a sweeping shot that's going to make you cry so much you have to wipe your tears? What did he say about the battery? I don't remember. It's useless. Now, if on the other hand, you like making videos like that and putting them on the internet because you want to share with other people, look at this shot I got. It's so nice. Look at it. Then cool. You do you, man. And if people eat it up and they love it, that's great. You're sharing art and people are appreciating it. That is so important. For me personally, I've never really been much of a nice B-roll or look at this cool cinematic shot kind of person. It doesn't do it for me. It doesn't move the needle. You give me some music that just music can really do it for me. Films, obviously, because of the story. People are always talking about, it's about the story. In Jason's video he just posted, he makes an ideal point, which is that people aren't going to see or if people are focused on the rolling shutter or your blown out highlights or whatever, you're not doing a good job of the story. And I agree. But I also think, conversely, that camera reviews made to look all cinematic and shot on anamorphic and have beautiful shots and stuff like that isn't a story. You are still watching that video being like, what's the rolling shutter like? Because you're automatically out of it because you were never in it because you're watching a camera review. You didn't turn on Netflix and be like, oh, what's this movie? And then get blown away by it and then want to share with somebody. It's not the same field. It never has been. So if the one thing is just to try to show people, look, these are my chops. Look how good I am. Cool. I guess that's just flexing. I would so much rather have somebody send me, hey, look, this is the project I worked on. It's got nothing to do with a camera review, but just this is a project I'm working on. It's important to me. And then I'll watch that solely for the purpose of being in the art mindset. I don't know how to marry those ideas in a camera review. There's people like Philip Bloom who have done it very elegantly, where you can watch one of his reviews and be like, wow, really nice shot. I'm almost lost there for a minute. Oh, now we're talking about camera specs again. But to do that, his videos are sometimes 2 hours long, right? So I don't know how you do it in an 11-minute video and have me think about the art. So that's why I don't do it. It does not mean that I'm not capable of using a camera. But this video isn't supposed to be about me feeling insecure about, they don't think I can use a camera right. I don't care. If you want to think that, that's fine. What bothers me about it is that it's used as a way to undermine the results that I share. Like I saw a comment on Jason Morris's video that I responded to, albeit snarkily, because I keep seeing the same user talk trash about me in every video that goes up that mentions my name in it at all. And they're like, I can't wait to see Gerald's dynamic range tests now this information's out. You don't have to see them. If you don't want them, if they're not useful to anybody, I won't make them because I don't care. I put them in there because I thought they were useful. I thought that buyers found them useful. And I know that buyers do because they tell me. It does in the comments. Now, maybe not for everybody. And if some tests aren't useful to you, guess what? I've been doing table of contents chapters on YouTube before it was even functional on the bar to make it easy and more efficient for people to skip through videos. I've been doing that for like 8.5 years. So if dynamic range isn't important, skip on to the next one. Skip on to the one that is. Battery life, overheating. Click on the one you want. Cool. And it's there and it's free. And I hope it was useful. But if you make a post, why does Gerald talk about dynamic range? He doesn't even shoot anything and dynamic range doesn't matter. But I think the issue that I actually have is that people somehow insinuate that I'm trying to hurt LUMIX. And my only question to that would be, why? What could I get out of that? Again, it's a company, right? Maybe you think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to short the stock. So I short the stock and then I drop my video. And my video, I'm just going to destroy the S1R2 in my video so that hopefully Panasonic's stock price on the, I don't know, wherever they trade on the Japanese stock market or whatever, goes down. And then I'm going to make some sweet money on shorting. Like, is that, like, what else am I going to get out of it? In one side, you believe that if I'm hard on the brand, that they're less likely to do me any favors. You know, in the case of LUMIX, it's like, oh, Gerald doesn't get to go to Japan. That's the running gag now. And I guess I put that target on my back. That's fine. But actually, those comments I just find funny, where it's like, Gerald ain't going to Japan now after he's negative on the camera. And it's like, right. So you could think that if I'm being hard on a camera, I'm less likely to get perks. So I'm not doing it for that reason. And I made a joke about the whole short selling the market thing. If you really think that one of my videos is going to make a significant difference on Panasonic's, again, these companies are massive and have their hands in multiple things. If you think it's going to make a significant difference in their stock price that I could actually time it and short that, that's also insanity. Why would I crap on LUMIX for any personal motivation reason? There's no reason for it. So if I tell you the battery life is bad, the battery life is bad. And then if you think, I don't give a crap, I'm going to run it on USB. I'm running all my cameras on USB right now. So then cool. I sell USB cable because I think that power delivery to cameras is great. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. But the point is, I would rather you didn't buy the camera because maybe I overstated rolling shutter. I didn't, I just said numbers. But if it's like, I get some people say, he spent too long on the rolling shutter. Gerald front loaded the rolling shutter. He put the rolling shutter at the beginning of that video, but on a Sony video, he would have put it at the end. I put the rolling shutter where I think it's most logical. Rolling shutter can sometimes be indicative of oversampling and stuff like that. So if I'm going to make a whole speech about oversampling, then it might make sense, hey, let's start with rolling shutter. You can see the different readout modes. We can talk about the different resolutions while we're doing that. Then you can see by demonstration of the read speeds that all these modes are also oversampled, which will make more sense when we go into dynamic range. And now you can see why the dynamic range is the same between these three different modes because as we established. But if in that section, the rolling shutter numbers are also bad, well then yes, at the front of the video, I'm going to be telling you that the millisecond numbers are high, right? But when it comes to my conscience, I would rather you watch that part in the beginning and go, rolling shutter numbers are too high, I'm not going to buy this. And then later on find out, hey, you know what? The camera was actually pretty solid and can do the job that I need perfectly. I think I'm going to pick one up. I'm not going to feel bad about that at all. Oh, you didn't get it right away? Too bad, so sad. I'm not trying to make money for these camera brands. But what would bother me, what would upset my conscience, is if I didn't mention it at all, didn't mention the rolling shutter at all, and you bought it because I said all these other positive things, and then you go and use it on something that I didn't think you were going to use it on because I only talked about how it's perfect in this particular scenario, or I underplay a thing where I say, look, in this shot, you can't even see rolling shutter. People are overstating rolling shutter because of this. And then you go, cool. And then you go and buy it. And then you go in my comments 3 months later and you say, Gerald, you bozo, you didn't tell me about the rolling shutter being terrible. And now I can't even use it. And now I'm at a loss because, I'm at a return period. And I'm trying to sell it at a loss. I'm never listening to you again. That would actually make me feel bad. So I would rather tell you everything I find. And then you get to go and decide whether or not that matters to you or not. And I can walk away from that knowing that, hey, yeah, maybe the Reddit posts and the user groups and the response videos are all like, why does Gerald hate LUMIX? But at least I know that an individual buyer, everybody is aware, are we right? Everybody is aware of the slow readout speed on the S1R2. We're all aware of it, so that's good, right? Sometimes it feels like people don't want me to make my camera reviews. Again, maybe because there's no artistry in their opinion to my camera reviews, so they don't deserve to exist, or because I point out faults in systems that they somehow have aligned themselves with a faceless brand, that bothers them as well. So they'd rather I just don't even make the video. It's like, that's what I feel like I get from some of these comics and response videos. It's like, you'd rather I just didn't even do the tests then. They'd be like, Gerald, it just says numbers. Okay, you'd rather I just don't even do the tests? That's what you'd prefer? And in a way, that's fine by me. It's easier work for me. If anything on this platform has been proven is that you can do a lot less and still make the video, and I could still stick a sponsor in there and still get paid. And if that's ultimately all we're trying to do here, then yeah, I could save myself a lot of time and energy and just make a video where, a lot of my fellow creators lately have been going to bat for me. And that's really nice. Don't stick your neck out for me, by the way. I mean, I'm in a privileged position, and it would be a character flaw for me not to recognize that. But I still appreciate it. From a friend perspective, I still appreciate it. Terry Warfield, I sent him a text specifically because both in his video, but also in his live stream, he kept sticking his neck out for me multiple times, being like, Gerald's great, and he's a great guy, and he's great to me, and he's always been a friend, and, I don't agree with him 100% of things, but man, his videos are useful, and I watch his videos, and he's completely objective, and his videos are useful to me. Like, he doesn't need to say all that stuff, so thank you. And Jason Morris is defending me in his videos, and I appreciate it. I appreciate we're probably all fighting the same enemy here. I feel like we're just sort of going about it in different ways. I think the reason why I made this was to cover a couple topics, and I feel like we did, but let's just kind of like make sure we got all the things covered there. So one was to explain, what do I actually care about in a camera? That way, when you watch my next camera review, instead of getting angry about my dynamic range or rolling shutter test, you can say, Gerald doesn't even actually care about this stuff. He's literally just doing it for the viewers that do care about it. You don't need to pat me on the back, but it's a free service. I'm providing it for free, Get Storyblocks to pay for it, but for you, it's free. If I were to really make a video emphasize purely on what I need, it would be solely from like a content creator perspective. And I feel like a lot of my sort of filmmaker audience would say, why do we need to record in 8K for 3 hours? That's absurd. But that's more likely to be something that I would do, is like, I want to just let this camera roll like it is right now and just talk for as long as I want to talk, and then we'll edit it afterwards. And so those are things I care about more. So when I talk about battery life, overheating, record modes, external media, the media types, those are things I actually care about. And then obviously, like I said, I don't actually care what camera you buy. I don't have a stake or an interest in any of the big camera companies. I feel like I would have an obligation to disclose that if I did. If I said, look, I'm heavily invested in LUMIX, so I'm not heavily invested in any of these. I have some ETFs that may or may not have a small portion that has some of these companies, but I try not to look at those extreme things. They're just like tracking an index. I'm not individually invested in any of these companies. I don't care whether they fail or succeed. If one of them fails, whatever. I mean, I suppose I care as a consumer if they all succeed and do well for competition, but yeah, I don't have a vested interest in any of them. What I think is actually driving me crazy the most is that I feel like I'm getting influencer problems. You know what I mean? An emphasis on the word influencer there, because it's like, I never wanted to be an influencer. I feel like I'm the same person that I was like 8 or 9 years ago when I was just like, hey, look at this stuff that I found with this camera. And I just like say a lot of numbers and stuff because that's the way that I've always have been. But at some point then I became an authority in the space and like moved up the ranks of camera YouTube. And now when Gerald says the rolling shutter is slow, the great Gerald Undone made a sweeping statement about LUMIX. He said, no, I thought I've been watching Ratatouille a lot lately because my toddler's into it. And there's a scene where Anton Ego, the critic guy, was like, didn't I close the book on, what's the restaurant's name? Gusto? Whatever. He's like, didn't I close the book on Gusto's? And he pulls the thing. He's like, yes, I did. It tastes like Chef Boyardee. That was the last word. That's what I feel like I'm treated like now. Like I'm Anton Ego. I came into the space. Everyone, Joe's reviewing the camera. I hope he says something nice about it. I hate it. It's dead. But like, I don't even say that about cameras. I'm always trying to be so like nuanced, and the nuance just goes out the window and people go, he didn't let the rolling shutter. So, and again, I excuse that because I'm the same way. If you can give me a reason not to buy something, I'll latch onto it. And I think that's good. I think if anything, we need more reasons not to buy stuff than we need reasons to buy stuff right now. And if I'm providing those reasons, I have a good conscience about that. What I wouldn't have, like I said, is giving you more reasons to buy stuff that you didn't need deceptively. That would be the worst case. You know, maybe there is a little bit where people, they get under my skin a little bit. If I'm trying to be honest, when they say, oh, Gerald can't shoot anything. He doesn't even use a camera. Of course I use a camera, you bozos. What do you think I got all these cameras for? Why do you think I got in the space in the first place? The YouTube pipeline for me is just about efficiency. Efficiency to money, really, you know? Like, I do this now as like my career, but I still try to make the content good. The rest of it is an efficiency pipeline for me to get paid in doing that. It bothers me. It bothers me. I can use my camera. I can make art. I'm not the best at it, not even close, you know? And I've always been kind of not one to really like, for instance, I am a modestly proficient guitarist, but you're not going to see much of me playing guitar because, I don't know. I don't think I'm that good at it, and I don't really feel like, being like, look what I can do. I don't want to put it out on the internet. But then again, I also do, you know, I do make sample images and sample videos and clips and stuff like that. If you went back on my Instagram, you would see a whole bunch of like, oh, trees, ooh, sunset. I have all that stuff too, but like, I don't really consider it to be much in the way of art. I don't know why I'm talking about this. A big part of using a camera in 2025 is this kind of crap, by the way. This is what I would argue a good part, maybe more. I don't know what the ratio is, but like, I know that YouTube's like, we're the most watched TV platform, all that kind of stuff. So it's like, people probably are using their cameras for this a lot. This is a good reason to use a camera. And so I was able to turn it on and put a battery in it and put a lens on it. I mean, look at me go, right? Who knew? I would love to be more artful with my camera these days. I don't prioritize it, you know? It's not a path to money for me. And I have other hobbies that I enjoy more now. So as I'm sure, because you are real people out there, you get what it's like. You got to make a list of priorities, right? And you got to stick to it. It's funny, Jason Morris, also, I felt like, I was going to make that video. So you beat me to a good job. But anyway, we were working on a shoot for next week where we were going to take the S1RII, take it to, I think we're gonna do CrossFit and basically shoot a whole bunch of different modes and try and sort of give somewhat, because people always say that, you know, the rolling shutter numbers don't always mean anything. Like, what does it mean? So I was like, okay, well, let's do these different tests. And this guy, River, reached out to me, who's like, I got a place we can do it. I got an idea we should do it. And so let's do it. And so that was gonna be on, I think, Tuesday, coming up, like in a few days, to shoot that, basically. S1R2, all the different modes, with the different read speeds to be like, this is what 30 milliseconds look like, this is what 23 milliseconds looks like, and then you can get a sense for it. My expectation is that it's, as Jason Morris kind of showed you, it's probably not really gonna appear that differently on video, but I thought, hey, you know what, that's two things. One, people can actually have a practical shoot, maybe they can get off my back about not having a practical shoot, and maybe that'll be more useful in the rolling shutter argument. But then I come back to this and I go, I don't care about rolling shutter, so why am I investing so much time into it? It's for the same reason I invest so much time into all these topics in my videos, is because I thought you guys wanted it. I'm not gonna give you a sob story about being a content creator now, because again, I feel like I'm in a very privileged position. But there is a little bit of like, when the thing is performative, when it is like, I come here and I sit behind this desk and I talk to that camera, not for my own entertainment, right? I put it out there for you guys to then be, I basically just want you to say, this was useful. And then I go, good, all right, it was useful, cool, we'll do it again. We'll do it again next time. But when people go, that wasn't useful, that it breaks my brain, because it's like, what am I doing it for then? And even if it is just the vocal minority, people telling you it's not useful, people making it seem like you shouldn't even be bothering making videos because of how wrong you were to even think that that was gonna be somehow useful, is difficult when the whole business model is me sitting here sharing with you what I thought you thought was useful. Does that make sense? So that's why I'm having a hard time with it this week. And it's always a challenge, because you know there's gonna be another camera coming in the mail, and then it's gonna like, yeah, I'll be carrying some baggage with me into that next camera. You know, LUMIX is gonna have another camera at some point, right? And so then that one's gonna arrive, and now I have to somehow look at that LUMIX camera and be like, do I test the rolling shutter? Do I go easy on the rolling shutter? Do I put the rolling shutter at the end of the video? Do I just kind of briefly mention, by the way, rolling shutter's good, not good, whatever. And also, here's a question, here's a thought experiment. What if the rolling shutter on the next camera, let's go with a LUMIX camera. Let's say that they released another camera that has excellent rolling shutter. We shouldn't talk about it, right? Because rolling shutter doesn't matter. So any video that you see that mentions that the rolling shutter is good, that also had that mention rolling shutter doesn't matter, what is that? What does that say, right? You basically just have to pick a lane and stick to it. If it's like, I will say the millisecond of rolling shutter in a video, then it's like, that's the only way you can kind of be true to something, where you say, it was 30, I said it was 30. It was 5, I said it was 5. What more is there to say? But if you go, it doesn't matter, and then the next video say, oh my God, it's great rolling shutter, it's like, what? What? So I hope the next one's great rolling shutter, and if it is, you damn well better believe I'm going to tell you about it. And then you can tell me in the comments how it doesn't matter. And I hope you make something great with it. Or not. I don't know. Shoot your dog with it. Shoot your dog. It's funny we use the word shoot with cameras of all this. Don't make something great. Just go shoot your dog. No, I guess what I mean is, like, who am I to say? Then, like, it's the same kind of comments that I just said I hated, where it's like, you could do whatever you want with your camera. But there is something to this, which is that, and we all know it, we could smell it in like 2020, you know? A7S3, some of the other hybrids that were coming out at that point. It was like, yeah, this is all gonna become a lot more trivial and stupid soon. But we're also riding high at that time. That was like peak. After maybe like Canon 5D revolution, the next one was like that 2020, everybody gets 10-bit, everybody get like all these things, you know? But we knew, everybody knew, you knew it, I knew it, the other creators knew it, that it was gonna start trickling down a slope of trivial and stupid after that. And I guess I feel like I think we overcorrected so far now that we're down stupid mountain and we're inside just absurdity lake, drowning of like 10 response videos about rolling shutter, because what else is there to talk about, you know? And we all see the signs, and we all see the money being smaller than it was before, and the affiliates and the AdSense and all these other things. And so we're just out there grasping, you know, trying to climb out of the mire of this absurdity lake metaphor I'm coming up with here. The reason why I like videos like this is that they kind of reinvigorate me a little bit. My God, I'm sitting in my basement, monkeying around with technology, telling you guys, like, look what this thing can do, and getting paid really well to do that. There should be nothing other than amazement that that is a thing that I get to do, and you know, endless happiness and all the other stuff. But it's easy, because we're people and we have human conditions to, you know, fall apart at a particular thread that gets pulled. And, you know, it's even in my name, come undone, right? Videos like this are good for me to sort of like really take a close look at that thread that was pulling at the ball of yarn over here, and then go, okay, I think I understand it. And I'm okay to cut that off now, examine it a little bit, put it where it belongs, and then go back to this just beautiful ball of yarn over here that I'm just so thankful and appreciative for. And that's everything, you know? That's the channel, that's you, that's the viewers, that's all of it. And it is great. And it also allows me to look back and just be like, man, it's been a hell of a ride. It's been awesome. And I'm just so grateful to have been able to do it. And I guess still do it till now. All right. That's enough jibber jabbering. You guys have a good rest of your day, week, whatever, till I see you next time. All right. I'm done.